My name is Ilinca-Tamara Todoruţ, and I'm a theater teacher. I teach in Romania at the Faculty of Theater and Film at Babeș-Bolyai University. And I work as a dramaturg and a scholar and a teacher and a theater and performance critic. I am very much interested in the social political dimension. I write about theater and performance and digitality and the global warming and feminism. So I'm very much interested in contemporary forms of theater and performance and how that they respond to or they are changed by the current context. I tend to write with about things that I don't understand or that things that I want to know more or things that fascinate me or make me wonder if I really understand things. So I'm not very logical in my approaches like that, but I'm driven by this curiosity and fascination of things. So my first book was written because I was totally confused by Christoph Schlingensief and what he's trying to do. So from this confusion and fascination, it makes me rethink some of the things that I thought I knew, such as the tradition of realism and the theater. What is the theater's role in society and what can theater do? Right now, I'm working on my second book, which is about feminist dramaturgies. And again, for me, feminist dramaturgies, ways in which a particular condition, such as feminism, or that manifests in society, challenges what we think is theater and how we should make theater and what about and with whom and things like that. I've always enjoyed various forms of art making. I've always enjoyed going to the theater, reading, and part of my enjoyment was talking to other people about it. So for me, it was a way of being social somehow. So that part of finding out about myself and about other people when we talk about this shared experience. And I found that these discussions allowed me to know so much about these people. So I think for me, when I always knew I wanted to do something artistic, but not particularly in what position, and somehow writing about art and criticism merged my interest with art and also my interest in other people somehow in these discussions and in a very practical way in my life of reaching to people. One thing that made me really change my approach to criticism was even before the pandemic, when we were all indoors and we watched a lot of online theater, but I had started to think about theater and the digital world. Even before, there was Theater Magazine, which was Yale Magazine, was one of the first magazines that had special issues on digital dramaturgies. So one of my first pieces that I ever wrote was about digital dramaturgies.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. This was something that really changed my very early teenage or even undergraduate idea of theater as being something only alive and all that thing about presence and all that. Which is a very powerful discourse still, and for a good reason. But it allowed me to have, I think, a much broader idea about theater and performance. Well, I think the current situation in Romania of art criticism is similar to many other countries. I think that everyone that you're going to talk to is going to tell you about how the model is changing, how there are very few critics that are still employed by a publication to be in-house critics. The job of the full-time critic is very rare right now. I don't particularly mourn the loss of this model because this model of a critic going to review a particular production and writing about it so that people read and be like, oh, is it thumbs up or thumbs down? Is this something I can go and see or not? I was never really excited about that part anyways. I think it is connected with a particular theater business that's a larger like capitalist institutional arrangement. If we look at it differently, it's challenging us to rethink what is theater in the world, what is making theater, what is writing and talking about theater and performance and art. So I think I'm trying to see the silver lining, and I'm very excited actually about the possibilities, because this reviewing productions like a product and giving it a yes or a no and giving it 5 stars or 3 stars, I think that's not the best of criticism anyways. Well, in Romania, you still have some publications, art and culture publications that are both in print, still very few, but there still exist in print and online, and then there are publications that just function online, and some of them have their own critics in film and theater. There were, for many years, people wrote blogs, and some blogs were really influential. Like the Feminist Spectator was a very influential blog. And I know other critics who do have blogs, and I also visit their blogs, but not very actively. Social media is a place, so those things exist, but I think we can do more. I would like to see more this delineation between the practice of theater and the theory of theater, not to be so strict, because I think it's pretty artificial. So I think there's so many different forms that people can do in between art making and discourse, and between the practice. So I would love to see artists and critics working together on a project from the beginning. So it's not you have the product, the critic comes, looks at it, writes in a newspaper or online or on a blog. I think it should be something more. Well, from my experience of traveling to places and living and working, I found that the best thing that you could do is not to have expectations. So not to come with a preconceived idea of how I think this festival is going to be, or how this residence is going to be, but to come open to what is there and to other people who are there. So I think this openness that will come from me and from other participants, that's gonna be the most important.